Hello and greetings. A lovely warm welcome. And this is another edition of the Coaching Hour. It gives me great pleasure to welcome you. I'm Paul Rotherham. I'm joined as always by the co-hosts who've become dear friends. Well, I guess one of them has to be because she's my mother-in-law. Mary and Mareka joining me once again as always. Hello, ladies.
Hi.
Hello.
Lovely to have you with us. Now, I must be honest, there has been conversation abuzz in the Rotherham household for probably the last week and a half or so, after my wife discovered someone who is really knowledgeable and well-versed in a subject that I don't think we've gone into before on the Coaching Hour. Now, I'm not going to steal your thunder, Mary, because we're allowing you to do the introduction, because this is a journey that I think both you and my wife are going to be embarking on. I know you're both super excited. And I'm also excited, equally excited, because today we're going to find out a little bit more about what this elusive topic is. So fire away as we bring you this week's guest.
Sure, there's a mouthful. I'm so excited to introduce Heleen Pretorius. She is amazing. She is a detox specialist, a detox coach, transformational speaker, and content creator. So her online detoxes have been running for about 6 years now, which is the vehicle she uses to introduce people to the art of detoxification. So welcome, Heleen. We'd love to hear more about this subject.
Thank you very much. It's lovely being here.
Thanks, Heleen. So today we're going to talk about the topic, or our overarching topic is there's no such thing as aging. So I'm very fascinated about this topic and why you would say that. And I'm sure most people listening and watching wants to know this secret because no one wants to really age, right? But before we get into the topic, please tell our listeners who's Heleen and how did you get on this journey?
My journey started with my children. Before then, I was dieting and getting skinny and fattening up again and dieting and having all these like experiences. And then when my first baby arrived, I realized I'm making decisions for another person. And my question changed. Instead of wanting to lose weight, I wanted more energy. And I was guided to Marianne Scherer. You guys must have heard of her. She's from Cape Town. 1986, she already published a book, The Perfect Health. That was a bestseller, New York bestseller, and thin little book. And she just goes into that humans are actually frugivores, but she puts that aside. And then she goes into food combining and how much energy you can gain if you actually combine your food correctly chemically. That worked very well for me. My second child got born and he was very sick. So at that stage, we already veered away from the mainstream medicine, but we didn't have to go natural because we were healthy. And when he got sick, the mainstream medicine's answer just was not viable for me. I had to dive in on the other side. So about 6 years after that, we've established a really good naturopathic kind of diet, only eating meat every now and then, really healthy plant-based. We've moved away from all the like non-organic stuff, and he got better, but he didn't flourish. Yes, and I dived in again. I needed to find answers for him. And I was already facilitating detoxes at that stage, but I just did small little, liver detox and a kidney flush there, and, thinking we're detoxing. And I wanted to do a heavy metal detox, but I couldn't get my head wrapped around the science of it. I didn't have enough information to work with that. And then I came across Dr. Robert Morse. He's still alive. He's running a clinic and a school of the art of detoxification in Florida. And he's been busy at this for 50 years. So when I listened to his introduction talk, I was crying. I was so happy to come across him. I could hear that he understands the human body. And then he ends his talk with, okay, so you guys are frugivores, so you have to eat fruits to heal. I was so angry at him. At that stage, I didn't eat any fruits. I mean, we've been told fructose are so bad. There's cancer in my family. I used to have candida as a younger lady, so I didn't, if I ate a fruit a week, it was a lot, I had to walk away from him. I was too emotional. And then about 2 weeks later, I decided, okay, I'm just going to give it a go. I can't let it go. So I went in for my first fruit detox. And for the first time in my life, I detoxed. There was mucus coming out of every hole. It was just incredible. I felt, I literally have not stopped talking about that since then. And since then, I've progressed. You know, every child, I've had a third child, had pushed me in even deeper into the world of healing. And I've been facilitating these detoxes. So I've been in this beautiful position. I've been witnessing over 1,000 people being introduced to the fruit detox and experiencing the healing that they do on it. So I love what I do at the moment. It's just amazing to be in this position.
Wow. So, yes, Paul.
I was just going to ask, have I heard the term correctly, Heleen? Is it a frugivore?
Frugivore with a G.
Frugivore.
Mm.
Wow, I've never heard of that term. Obviously, I've heard of herbivore and similar, and omnivores and carnivores, but so a frugivore by definition is someone who only eats fruit or fruit and veg.
So all primates are frugivores. And if you ask a 3-year-old, who do we look like on this planet? What are they going to say? We don't look like herbivores. We don't have 2 to 7 stomachs to deal with plant material. We don't have a 30-foot long intestine to absorb the nutrients in that plant material. We're not a carnivore. Their intestines is this short because they're eating putrefying food. They sleep 20 hours of the day because they don't actually bring in energy. They are cleaners. They have a beautiful function in our lives. You know, and omnivores, I mean, I don't look like a chicken or a dog, or why would I be that? So it's very simple if you really look at it in a simple way, but we've been overeducated. So the education comes into kind of re-educating ourselves back to the simplicity of the truth.
I'm sure we're going to dig very deeply into this, but just a quick question. Is the reason that most of us, myself included, have a lack of education on this, is the reason for that ultimately money? In the sense that
I think it's more
industry,
control. I think it's more control. Money as well, but it's more control. But I realize now that a natural human body is invincible. Nothing will get stuck. Nothing they spray, nothing they inject in us, nothing they put in our food would actually get stuck in our body if our body was naturally detoxing as it naturally should. So they had to work on us for a long time to make us susceptible to what they're doing at the moment.
Wow, that's a very interesting viewpoint. And I mean, there will be skeptics listening or watching now who have many questions. Marika, I see you have one too.
Yes, the thing is, what is so powerful about this detox? What is happening in the body that, I mean, you look vibrant. I don't know if this is just your look or is it because what you eat, but you look young and vibrant. And I think the one thing that you've mentioned that is important to me as well is energy. I mean, especially working with people every single day. For me, exercising and eating healthy is never about losing weight. I want more energy. And up to this point, I've not gained that level of energy that I want, even if I drink enough water, you know, and all of those things. So what happens with this fruit detox? Why is it so powerful?
Okay, I'm going to give you a bit of context to get to that. So, you know, as humans or as people or as entities walking this planet, there's spaces between us, right? And the spaces is filled by air. So this body exists of cells. The building blocks are cells, nothing else. The bricks of this body is cells. Some of them are minute, others are a foot long. And then there's spaces between the cells, but there's no air there. These cells are actually living in a fluid. And this fluid is 20% blood and 80% lymph. And if there's anything between 50 and 150 trillion cells, depending on your health in your body, the more cells you have, the healthier you are. And every cell, when it eats, it poops. So this fluid brings the food to it and it takes the waste away. So it's 20% blood, 80% lymph. So the lymphatic fluid, the terminology lymphatic fluid, you won't find in any medical book. It's been scratched since the 1930s. They insinuate that there's something like that by sending you for a lymphatic draining massage. They insinuate there's something to drain, but you won't find it anyway. And it's so crucial because this is the reason we're aging. This is the reason we're breaking down. We haven't been naturally eliminating for generations now. And I know it's because of the post-World War diets, you know, high processed, high protein, high sugar, high everything really. And we've been clogged up generation after generation after generation. My mother didn't know how to heal herself before she conceived me. So I received my mother's lymphatic fluid. I received her sewage system as my starting point. That's why so many babies will be born with blue eyes, and 9 weeks later, their eyes are green or brown. It's not because the eyes change, it's because the lymph is actually settling in and showing itself. That's a big topic on its own. But this fluid service our cells. So if the wastes are stuck, the wastes are acidic, and the very, very standard characteristic of acids is to burn. It literally burns and breaks down. That's why we love acids. We need acids for that function. But if you are clogged up with a sewage system that contains acids, your cells are surrounded by the waste. And you know, like what a baby bum look like when you don't change it regularly. That is what happens to our cells. That is what acids do. So naturally, one of the 4 natural processes in the human body is elimination. It's not a thing that detoxing is not a thing we do to our body every now and then. It is a thing that needs to run 24/7 all the time. Otherwise, you're accumulating. And you don't want to accumulate, you need to eliminate, right? So why would we stop eliminating? The lymphatic fluid that surrounds our elimination organs, our kidneys, our skin, our lungs, and our bowel, of course, becomes so sticky. You know what sticky snot looks like? Yellow snot. It comes out of your body, right? Your body didn't generate it here just for you to blow it. It actually was somewhere in your body. It worked its way to the nasal cavity, and you either spit it out or sneeze it out or whatever. That is what our lymph starts looking like. And if that is what our lymph is looking like, it can't drain. It's not a liquid anymore. So now it becomes stickier and stickier. Some people have, I can see it in their eyes, their lymph becomes dark brown because it's dry snot. You know, it's like now their body shrinks literally because the space that would have been filled with the liquid there's no liquid anymore. There's just blood, you know, and it shrinks. So you this like a rusainkie, you know, you can completely dry it out. So when you start eating fruits, we're eating according to our species. So this is how you heal. You need to eat according to your species. You're not going to heal a herbivore with fruits. You're going to heal it with plants. You're not going to heal an omnivore with fruits. You know, you're going to heal him with their diet. You're not going to heal a cat with fruits. They're going to actually, there's one cat that I know of that lives on fruits, but apparently they will die on fruits. So if we eat according to our species, we start hydrating and alkalizing this lymphatic fluid again. And as soon as this lymphatic fluid that surrounds the cells of my elimination channels start becoming a liquid again, it can leave. And now the channel starts opening. It's never a linear thing. It's not like you're going to pull a plug and out is all the mucus. I wish it was like that. We should actually celebrate when we have cold and flus. It's not a disease. It's a detox symptom. When we have a cold and flu, we must all go like, yes, it's my chance to get rid of all this snot in my body. And you use things to support the process and bring out more. You book yourself off. You have baths, you have walks, because your body is getting rid of so much obstruction that it's really something to celebrate, you know. And that is what happens when you eat fruits. You're letting go of your waste. So your cells literally are able to receive nutrients again. So often the blockages are so heavy that the nutrients can't even reach the cells. You know how they speak now of insulin resistance.
Yes.
So if you really think about that, what does that even mean? It means you've got a problem. There's too much sugar in your blood, but there's enough insulin in your blood. But now we don't know what's going on. Your body is insulin resistant. And basically what happens, the insulin meets up with the sugar, but it can't get to the cell. So the sugar and the insulin now stays in the flow instead of going into the cell because of this mucus obstruction that surrounds the cells. So without releasing the lymph, there's literally very limited healing that you can do. You can do healing. And fruits are not the only way. Anything that alkalizes your lymphatic fluid will do this. So people that goes very deep into deep breathing, they can heal themselves with that. Cold water immersions, those kind of things can really heal yourself because you are alkalizing. So anything that are able to alkalize and hydrate your lymphatic fluid will be healing you because your waste is leaving. That's the one thing your waste must leave. Then there's a secondary thing I just want to bring out. when certain glands are weak, so we all receive a genetic parcel from our ancestors, right? When our mum and dad comes together, that is our starting point. Then our mum's lymph is added to that, and then our lifestyle is added to that. And that is basically the product that we work with what our body look like. So let's get to the you asked about the energy thing. If I was born with compromised adrenals and thyroid, for instance, that's your two major energy center. Your nerve system, neurological system, your adrenal and thyroid are your main energy centers. So or if one or three or all three of them or some of them are compromised, because we work with a holistic system that has one river, one sewage system, everything breaks down at the same rate, but those that's weaker will break down faster. And that is our energy center. So I haven't met anyone who doesn't have adrenal fatigue to a certain element, to a certain degree. You know, we all sit with very broke down adrenals because we've been learning to stimulate them to feel better. So when we are down, what do? We use caffeine, sugars, even if it's food, healthy sugars, but having a lot of it, spiking yourself, you're stimulating the adrenals. When you eat meat that's got neurotransmitters in, you're stimulating the adrenals. So every time we all run on stimulating energy, and then we're down again, and then we have to stimulate again to feel good, and then we're down again. And that very stimulation of the adrenals that does this is the reason why the adrenals are breaking down faster than the rest of the body. And that's a huge, huge energy center. So the good news is we heal all of this in the same way. You pull the plug, you hydrate, you alkalize, you allow the waste to leave your body. Your body does the rest. So there's no healers out there. I am my own healer. My body heals itself. The only thing I can do is show people what I've done to heal my body and help them to apply it for themselves so that their body can do the work again. So yeah, that is more or less, I hope that answers your question.
Is there an age limit?
Age limit? They say we start aging at 34, hey? So I have photos of quite a few people that are in their 70s. They look 34. They're fruitarians. I'm not a full fruitarian. I'm going in now again. The 22nd, I've got a solstice detox that starts every solstice to solstice. I'm going in for 6 months for the first year in 3 years because I had a baby and we were moving around a lot and living in communities and communal eating and all of that. I didn't have control of my food, but I'm going in now again. I'm so excited. And this is why I know aging doesn't exist. Because every time I step into a 6 months process, I lose 5 to 10 years of my aging. It's weakening, it's not aging. Another sign of aging is menses, right? I've been a witness of over a dozen women that joined my cause and within a month start their menses again after not having it for a year and a half plus. It's aging. It's weakening. It's not aging. And that's good news because weakening can become strengthened again if you know how to. So it's very exciting.
Can it be too late?
No. Well, yes, I suppose, there are people that are very diseased that starts. And you have to realize if you instigate detoxification after you haven't been eliminating, you are instigating elimination. So you're going to look, it's not romantic. It's not always soothing. It's sometimes quite harsh. Everything that you've experienced your whole life is going to show. If you used to have bronchitis, you're going to look like you've got bronchitis because that acid is actually now, instead of being suppressed like it was back in the days with the medicines you use, it's now coming out. If you used to have a lot of UTIs, you're going to go through a period of having, I don't want to say UTI because it's not a urinary tract infection. It's not an infection because it's not a stuckness anymore. It is now a flowing of the acids. Unfortunately, it burns. You're going to have to get yourself through that. But when you're through that, it's done. It's healed. It's no revisiting it, except if you go back into a very acid ash forming food for a few years again.
So just to understand this, Heleen, once one is a frugivore, as you've said now, you've tried to be, but life has kind of got in the way. This is obviously a mindset, firstly, where we make a conscious decision to say, right, I'm changing my lifestyle, changing my diet, I'm only eating fruit. But does it then become permanent that is our diet? Or everything that you have been saying, is that within the context of a detox period where you only do it for a certain time?
Ideally, we will live according to our species. Ideally, we will live on fruits only. I know a few people that does that, athletes as well. they are invincible. They are loving life. You know, every time I step into the space of eating fruits, I think the biggest reason I step back into it each time is the way my world is when I'm there. And that is because I've changed. We know this, right? I determine how my world looks for me. And when you are in that space where you have clarity of mind, you wake up in the morning, it's like the morning starts whenever you're that eyes open. There's no clogginess, there's no getting out and getting ready. It is incredible. I have opened a business every time I'm on a 6-month detox. I start a new project because you're aware and you're awake and you're there, you know. Because I have a family and my children grew up in another way of eating, and I don't want to force anything on them. I have found this balance with my family where I go in for 6 months, but when I get to like the springtime, September, my 3 children usually joins me for 2, 3, 4 months. We're trying to go for 4 months, and then they would revert back again. But reverting back, when you learn about the chemistry of food, you never revert back to what we've known. You know, the pyramid of having all the foods on you never revert back to that. You've got too much knowing to do that to your body. So you will always observe food combinations better. You will, certain foods that you used to maybe have daily, you're now going to have once a week or twice a week, or maybe once every 2 weeks, just because you now understand the effect it has on your body. And you don't just understand it. When you've gone through the fruit experience and you reintroduce those foods, your nervous system actually shows to you what this actually does to your body before the nervous system starts dumbing down that feeling again so that it doesn't overwhelm you because you have it daily. So that first introduction to the foods, you can feel what that piece of bread does to your stomach. You can feel what that cheese does to you. You feel it, and that becomes your desires change. So it's not this discipline thing all the time. In the beginning, yes, it is. You have to like establish the habits and get into it. But because your desires start changing, I have no desire for bread because of how it makes me feel. Literally, I have no desire. I go, even if people have it in front of me, I won't have it. Sometimes I'll have it just because it's a lovely meal and everyone is having bread. I want to be part of that. That it's almost a social decision that makes me partake in certain things. And this is what's lovely, powerful about this is when you start listening to your body, you will see how it guides you deeper and deeper into the world of fruits, or then raw, which is the step before fruits, you know?
I think one of the questions that comes to mind for me, sorry, Marek, I know you've got something to jump in with as well, is straight away, if you said to me, right, Paul, name how many fruits you know. I'm thinking now off the top of my head, and obviously now isn't the platform for naming them all, but it's a limited list in terms of what's available. If I go to my local Woolies or Pick and Pay or supermarket and you say, right, buy every fresh fruit that is in the store, and I then imagine that on my kitchen table or dining room table, in my mind, straight away, because of my upbringing of eating everything and anything, my thought is, oh my goodness, this is limited. How limited is it in reality?
It is quite limited, especially if you want to go organic. Hey, unfortunately, I mean, I've been cruising through Joburg to all the organic outlets, and you've got a small little selection of fruits. So we've got a huge problem. It's been kept from us. Our fruit trees has been taken down. It's been corporate, it's became corporates, and then we've got a movement, the fruit movement that's running with people that's getting involved with getting fruit forests in again and that. It is limited. But if you look at the tropical fruits and that's really out there, it is not that limited at all, actually. And there's actually quite a few African fruits that we've never even heard of. Don't ask me to name them. I'm actually going to Swaziland now with a friend to go show me some of them. But there's actually, I had a conversation the other day with this friend of mine that's taking me there. There's over 8 fruits that I've never heard in my life. There's African-based fruits, So it is, I call it the fruit conspiracy. They had to keep us from our most potent medicine. When one of my children goes sick, the first thing I reach out to is a liter of coconut water. That's the first most powerful medicine I can give my child, is a liter of coconut water. It is powerful. Fruits is immensely powerful for frugivore, and they had to keep us from that. So if you really look at how we have run around the culture of fruit, 80% of the natural world out there do not subscribe people to fruits. They actually tell them to not touch it. So it's a big deal.
It's a problem because most people think that, oh, but it's too much sugar. You know, we've been conditioned to think that the sugar and fruit, I'm going to pick up weight. And
Mm.
from what I've heard, that's not the case.
Not the case at all.
My question is, if you want to start getting into this diet, do you only have to eat fruits 3 times a day, or how can you kind of ease it in to make it a lifestyle?
That is a very individual decision. You know, some people that just dive in head first, they go for citrus only for 6 months. I don't know how they do that. You know, in my case, I provide 5 levels. Let me start there. I provide 5 levels on my detoxes. The entry level is where you eat fruits and veg, still cooked as well, but you don't eat any complex amino acid structures. And this is all your proteins, plant protein, animal proteins, doesn't matter. You don't touch that. You don't touch starches, which is complex carbohydrate structures. Anything complex brings an effect on the body. You don't touch any stimulants like caffeine or chocolate or refined sugar. Of course, no processed food, no alcohol, you know, so that's entry level for eating. If you are there eating fruits and plants, but you can still cook it, then you're on a trajectory of healing, a slower one, but you are on a trajectory of healing. Slowly, slowly, you're going to heal. When you step up and you get rid of the cooked foods, so now it's raw fruits and veg, you are in a faster level of detoxing. There you just have to realize that the fiber of the leaves we eat can bring damage to you. You can't rely 80% on leaves. You know, you're going to have to rely on a balanced structure then. And then the next level is fruit only, but this includes your high fat and high sugar fruits like avocado, coconut, and banana, dates. It includes your veggie fruits like your tomato, cucumber, and peppers. So you can still make a salty salad if you want, you know, on that level 3. That's where I'm comfortable to heal. Then when you step up, you cut out the high fat, high sugar, and the veggie fruits. So you stay on the clear fruits. And then the best and fastest way, well, I won't say the best, the fastest and most intense way to heal is a monofruit diet. So in autumn in South Africa, we'll do citrus, and in summer, we'll do grapes.
So do
So
you
how
just
you do it? Yeah.
So when you say citrus, is it only citrus?
Those who choose to do that, yes, it's only citrus. The only time I advise people to do that is when they are basically dying and they need to get out of it very, very quick. But their body needs to be able to be strong enough to actually survive the detoxing that's going to happen. So that's why earlier when you asked, is it too late for some to join? Sometimes it is. Sometimes they die trying, you know. So, but yeah.
I'd like to jump in here, and I wouldn't say that I'm skeptical because I've been hanging on your every word, but I do think as a project, the coaching hour almost needs to have a disclaimer in the sense that I'm sure you'll agree with me, Heleen, we are not wanting our viewers and listeners now to chuck away everything that's in their pantry, rush out, and now for the next however many weeks or months, try and exist only on fruit and veg. Because I would imagine as positive as this is and as life-changing as it has been for you, you do have to be careful in terms of how you implement this. It's like anything. You can't just stop today and start tomorrow. Or can you?
I've done it. Many people do it. As long as I think the biggest crisis I have over 1,000 of people that I've personally worked with. There is millions of people worldwide that I'm plugged into networks that's doing it as well. But now I'm speaking about my hands-on experience. None of them had very severe reactions. I think maybe a dozen had to be like in bed for a few days. That's the maximum you'll actually experience. Your body will be healing. So whatever is in will be coming out. You might have cold and flu, like I mentioned earlier, or bronchitis, or whatever you had, an old injury. You might have hurt your shoulder in rugby when you were 18. And then you start realizing, oh, for the first time now, this thing is, you know, showing again. And it's actually this thing healing. So there's actually no danger in jumping into it as long as you don't run to the doctor if you now become sick, because they're going to do the opposite of what you're busy doing with the fruits. They're actually going to suppress what's happening. And that is the problem that we've had over the last few decades with our mainstream medicine. is instead of working with the body healing, there's a beautiful place for them. I don't like to sound anti-mainstream medicine because I don't have the capability to do surgery on anyone, and surgery is sometimes necessary. So they have a space for that, for emergencies. There's a beautiful space for them, but they shouldn't put themselves out for healing. They don't have a clue how to help the body to heal. You know, they suppress the healing effect. So there's actually no danger in it. I'd say the biggest danger are for those that is already really in a dying situation, you know, that it can go pear-shaped any day. And in that case, you know, they might be dying trying. But I mean, I've never had a case like that, or never even witnessed a case like that. So it's really not that dangerous to do it. You know, easing into it is probably cleverer, you know, maybe going on to the level 5, you know, cut out those things first and then cut out the rest. That's it. Some people do it like that. They prefer easing into it. You know, other people only want to commit for 2 months, so they just jump in and then they get out again. So it's very much an individual decision how you choose to navigate this. And my personal situation, I usually try to do a 6-month every year. I think I've done 4 to date. And if I look at my iris and I track my condition, I think I need to do about 3 more to get to the place where I know I can be as a fully healthy person.
My wife, Zena, has been consuming quite a few of your videos, which are really insightful, Heleen. So thank you for making those available. One of the words that she's used, that she said you use often, is dead food. What is that?
Anything that's cooked is dead. It's dead. There's very little nutrients in it. If you've cooked it consciously, like fried it a little bit, sure, there will be some left. Meat is dead food. You know, if you are a meat lover and you really want meat to be meaning something to you, you're going to have to kill something and eat the meat there and then, because the life is in the blood. You know, the meat that you're eating is a dead complex amino acid structure. Yes, there's amino acids in there that your body can use, but your body goes through an extremely expensive process, energy expensive process, to get to the amino acids. And the waste products that's left are so acidic. If your body is not eliminating well, this is now breaking down your body. The good news is, if you've reset your body, some people claim 1.5 years is good to do that. If you actually jump in for 1.5 years, you've reset your body. Now you can almost eat anything as long as you don't do it daily. So you can still partake in all your favorite food. Your body is now so powerful to be able to deal with that. You just shouldn't do it daily, because whatever you build daily will eventually add up and bring you back to where you were.
There's always extremes, I think, with any conversation. And something that's come to mind now after you referenced meat is this, to me, fairly new craze and wave of people who only eat meat. It's one of those eating plans that was put forward, and a lifestyle that in many circles is seen to be quite cool, where that's it, you only eat meat. How are these people still alive if what you're saying is that we are not a species that should even be touching meat?
So how they are alive is they've got a very powerful liver that is actually converting the amino acids, the protein structures, into glucose, because the body cannot run without glucose. The reason they're more healthy than those that combine meat with other foods is food combining. So when you eat alkaline structured food, carbohydrates basically, the breakdown elements is the enzymes in your spit. So the longer you chew, the more enzymes mix with the food. You're going to swallow. There's some enzyme function in the esophagus, and then it reaches the stomach. And the stomach is just a holding back in this case. There's no acids involved. These enzymes, this alkaline enzymes, does all the breakdown and the digestion that needs to happen. When you eat complex amino acid structures, which is now proteins, the enzymes in your spit doesn't do anything to it. You chew it manually to break it finer. Then it goes to the stomach, and the stomach and the small intestines produce hydrochloric acid and pepsins to break down this food. Then there's a 2 centimeter space that this very acidic chyme has to become alkaline before it hits your small intestines, before ulceration and that happens, which is relying on the liver and to produce bile, and the pancreas to produce bicarb to do that. So now if they continue doing that, these organs start wearing out and cannot function anymore. So the acidifying, the ulceration, and that starts setting in. The reason they're shining when they go onto meat is because they're stimulating the adrenals with the neurotransmitters that's in the meat, the adrenaline that's in the meat. So and stimulating the adrenals gives you more steroids, it gives you more neurotransmitters, it gives you more enzymes, more hormones. You are shining, and they do. I've actually have a couple of friends that's carnivores. We've had deep conversations, you know. And I don't like converting anyone. I don't believe in wanting to convert anyone. I live my life. You live your life. We are here for there's nothing wrong choosing a meat life. You're going to have a short and strong and intense life, you know, and enjoy it. You know, many people want that. But if you want a more stable and cool and longer life, you're going to have to go into the balanced space. We don't want to be 100% alkaline. We'll die. We need to find that balance. The balance seems to be 20-80, 20% acid, 80% alkaline. You know, so and in our fruits, there are actually acid ash forming fruits that gives you the acids that you need. So you don't now have to go and find acids to bring it in either.
Quick one. Has it been proven statistically that frugivores live longer?
If you look at the Blue Zone diet and you look at their limited intake of proteins and the rest are carbohydrates, that's already proof, because the Blue Zone diet went to all these communities that had this people that goes into 150, you know, that they studied. So if you look at their diets, there is a little bit of fish and a little bit of legumes, but it's really, really small amounts compared to their fresh intake of foods. And then, you know, the stories are out there. There's quite a few NFL players and that has switched to fruitarian. There's a big there's a YouTuber called Yucky Awakened that has a following of 250,000+ people, and he works with teams, with NFL teams and basketball teams that he converts to fruits, and the results is out of this world. The athletes that joined me to date, most of them joined thinking, okay, I'm going to switch off from my athlete career for a little bit, I'm detoxing, and they all reported back having the best times, recovery times, no acid feelings of the muscles, and that, you know, the recovery times are just so superior. You know, so just by the testimonies that I, again, personally witness in my personal coaching career, it is undeniable that we heal when we eat according to our species.
So you've got us speechless.
I don't know if it's a good thing.
Heleen, I did do I did a fast. I mean, when I was much younger, for 21 days, and I didn't eat anything. I just drank water with a bit of lemon. And after 21 days, I experienced that mucus, you know, and then I got to fry. But I had to wean myself on food again. It took me 3 months to get back onto.
Yeah, but look, a water fast is superior to that, and superior and inferior in a certain way, because us as humans are so malnutritioned at this stage. When people come to me and say, Heleen, I want to do a water fast, will you help me? I usually tell them, don't you feel like doing a fruit fast first? Do it a month or two, and then go into the water fast. Just bring some nutrients to your cells, you know. We are very malnutritioned. It is very unfortunate. That's why we're aging, you know. Every wrinkle that shows, every organ that shows weakness is weakening, you know. It's cells that is actually weakening.
So when you go on this new way of eating, do you de-age what you've aged? I don't know if that's what
yeah, absolutely. And that is why I say aging doesn't exist, because I've seen how I've reversed. Every time I commit for a 6-month detox, I reverse my age drastically. Hey, the last 3 years since I haven't jumped in on a 6-month, I've had small, like 1 or 2 months fruit detoxes. And because I had a baby, having a baby, for instance, I've got so much more respect for us as mothers having babies, and having noticed how I aged in the pregnancy and giving birth stage, you know, and even afterwards, trying to now build up your nutrients again, you weaken quite heavily. And it's quite, you know, my biggest passion really is getting to mothers before they conceive, because if we can help women to heal their body from this congestion before they conceive, we will birth super babies. They won't have any defects. They won't have any problems.
I'm going to ask what might be or might appear to be a rude question, and I apologize, Heleen. How old are you?
I'm 44.
Okay. Wow. You don't look
Mm.
44. And the
Yeah,
reason I
no,
asked this was not to put you on the spot, but because we are
no, I know.
we are filming this and we can see exactly what you look like. Honestly, I would have said you are early 30s, and I'm not
Mm.
saying that just to
Same.
verify anything that you've said about the diet. If you had
Mm.
said before you answer that question, guess,
Mm.
I would have said 32, 33.
Mm.
Oh, wow. And I don't
Yeah.
wear any makeup. I've got mascara on. I don't wear any foundation. I don't wear any products. I don't stink. I do sometimes when I'm going through a detox period. I still stink when I sweat. But you know, when I'm in a detox period, the funniest thing in about 3 months and I can't get my kids out of my armpits. We, as humans, we actually have a beautiful scent. And I think it's very important for our survival on this planet. You know, I think nature would recognize us better if we actually eat according to our species and smell according to our own scent. You know, it's quite a big thing. Any products, you know, I only put on my skin what I can eat. So olive oil, coconut oil, that's it. You know, the rest comes from the inside. You know, you can only fix your skin really from the inside.
Hmm.
And was quite a
Fascinating.
mind warp, actually. Maybe I can just drop this in here. So many people will start to detox with me and like reach out to me like, oh my God, my skin, I look like a teenager again, you know? And this actually means that your skin is strong. It's a strong elimination organ. It is able to send things through while you're detoxing. And those of us that had quite a sedentary teenager life created pathways by not moving our lymph, it created pathways. And when you start healing intensely, these pathways are used again. So we think it's a weak skin. It's actually a strong skin. And then the opposite side of it would be like eczema and psoriasis, which is your skin dying. That's what it is. You know, it's dead skin cells that is dying, has died already. So you can only fix it from the inside.
Last question is a quick one because I see we are out of time. Unless, of course, Mary or Mareka also have a question. But we're living in an age where everyone's looking for a quick fix. And I know this isn't a quick fix. This is a lifestyle change. But realistically, how long does it take before one starts seeing an effect if you go on to this fruit and veg only or fruit only diet?
Day 2, you start seeing the
Wow.
difference. Very,
Okay,
very quick.
that's faster than take a lot in an outlying area. That's good.
Wow.
Yep.
That's amazing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Heleen. I mean, you've given a lot of food for thought, pun intended.
Food for thought.
Food for thought. Now, I'm definitely going to relook, you know, in terms of what we eat, and especially with my kids as well, you know, to make sure that you start introducing that more, especially like school lunches, you know, those type of things. But
Definitely.
like Paul said, you have to be creative to think about ideas in terms of fruit because it seems like the options are limited. But maybe if you actually start planning and you get more into it, you might realize there's more options than you thought. But thank you, Heleen.
Yeah.
This was really very insightful. I really enjoyed our session.
Thank you for having me. It was lovely.
I'm looking
Thank
forward
you.
to seeing your program.
Yes, I'm looking forward to heal with you. It's lovely healing together.
And a reminder, if you would like to join the program or find out more, we would put all of the links in the comments section and in the description of this podcast. Thank you very much for joining us for this, another edition of the Coaching Hour. We do hope you can join us for the next one. Cheers for now.